Hey, what's up, everybody? Jeremy here. And guys, I'm very excited for the conversation that we're going to have today as we have Daniel Krynzel with us. And we're going to be taking a look at really having a relationship with God, why that matters, and why it's a big thing that's missing in a lot of people's lives. So Daniel, thanks for hanging out with me today, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So you actually had a very transformational event in your own life that's kind of led you to look at life a lot differently, man. So tell us what happened in 2008.
Yeah. So 2008, I was in the mortgage business and things crashed. Things changed overnight. I went from, everyone in the neighborhood going, why are you here? Where are your parents? To I got to move because I can't afford this place anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then I guess from that perspective, then, like, where did you go? What did you do? And how did that lead you to looking for something more in life?
Yeah. Well, I went down into the bottle and I started drinking. I couldn't feel anything. I literally was drinking from the morning until the night because there was pain that was around that I just didn't want to be a part of. So as I was drinking, as I was doing all these things, some things changed in my life. I started doing some different businesses. I never really caught the mortgage business back for a while. And years later, I got sober. And that was like the turning point, Jeremy, where I was like, okay, I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm not going to numb myself. And God was the one that intervened. He said, look, you got to stop drinking. This is it. It's over. And from that point forward, my life has changed dramatically.
What was that moment like? Was it an event? Was it, just a small still voice, or like what was that, man? What was that event?
Yeah. I was actually running in Las Vegas, where I lived at the time. It was a very hot summer day, very hot. And I stopped and I just looked up into the sky and I'm like, God, I need your help. I got to stop drinking. I can't stop on my own. Like, I know you can help me. Please help me. And I had like a burning bush sensation. Like literally I got hotter than I already was. I mean, running, it's like 120 out. And now it's
and you got a different kind of heat in Vegas than we do in New Jersey. Like, it's 120 here and I feel like there's a piano on my back.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sitting there. It's literally I'm like vibrating with heat. And for that point forward, I haven't wanted to drink any alcohol. It's been incredible.
So then how did you take that? It's interesting, right? Because it's for you, that's kind of like your Saul in Damascus moment, right? Like something happens and your perspective switches. So I guess from that changed perspective, like, where did you go? What did you do?
Yeah, I actually got back into the mortgage business because that's what I knew. I went in with different intentions. I went in to help people, and I built a massive mortgage company. I owned a part of a mortgage company that was in 12 states. It was pretty massive, and had some big teams and things that I was running. And this was the moment, Jeremy. I was sitting there in my office. I see $131,000 hit my account. It's the 7th of the month. So, I've got the rest of the month still to make money. I had a coaching business at the time. I was coaching realtors on lead gen and closing. And I had a lot of money coming in from there. I mean, I was on track to make $200,000-300,000 in that month. And I felt empty and just horrible, and I did the I'm going to pray to God thing again, literally, like I wasn't doing it consistently. I looked up and I'm like, God, what's wrong with me? Like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel empty? Why is there like a hole in my chest? I've got all this money. People would dream to make this much money. I have a McLaren. I've got race cars. I've got toys everywhere. I've got healthy kids at home. Everything is great. And I'm just feeling like this. So this is how the Godwalk app, and this is how walking with God and everything kind of came to fruition. It happened inside of me, inside my mortgage office. I was pacing in my office back and forth. There was no one in there. It was early in the morning. There was no one in there. And I just had a conversation with God, and he spoke back to me. And I kept talking, and he kept talking back to me. And I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do? He's like, shut down the mortgage business.
Wow.
What?
What's that conversation with your family like? Wow.
I make at that point, with my family, I made all the financial decisions. So it wasn't a conversation. It was just a decision. It was a gut check. It was, God told me to shut down the mortgage business. So I did. I wasn't able to do any more loans. I made all that money, but it was very difficult to close mortgages at that point. There was a reason.
So that money you had by the 7th, then that was everything.
It wasn't everything. I still had more coming in, but it was very difficult to make the mortgage business, work. Something changed. And it was God changing it. He was getting my attention now that I look back at it. So a couple of days later, I'm at the chiropractor getting an adjustment for my back. And that voice comes in again and he's like, delete your database. I'm like, 22 years, God. Like I'm literally having this conversation in the waiting room at the chiropractor. And he's like, delete your database. And I looked at my phone. I had it on my phone. I had it on a Google Drive with all of my systems and stuff. And I deleted it. It's gone. And he says, okay, now you're going to work with me. And he literally told me the plan when I was in the office. He told me that I was going to connect men to him. And I was going to do it through a conversational piece, through technology, through the Godwalk app. So that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing now.
So what are those first steps like then? Because I imagine, we've all had things change in our life. And I think those first steps are some of the hardest, right? Like, because you're not really sure of yourself. You're not putting your foot all the way on the ground. You're kind of putting it down gently. So I guess for you then, what are those first steps in that new mission like for you?
Yeah, it was faith. And it wasn't like just like the normal faith that you get in church. This is not a church conversation. If you go to church, great. If you don't go to church, great. God is God. As I'm walking, though, I would make a move that he told me to make, and then I would see the result. It wouldn't happen like immediately, but it would happen. And, like I closed the mortgage business and things started happening. I started getting happier. Things were like releasing off of me. Like the baggage from on my back was gone. And I started almost floating around about my day to a point to where since I've been walking with God consistently, I've had such a joy in my heart and in my mind that no one can compete with that. No mortgage business can even give me what I have now.
Was there like because at the same time, like we do look for those things to confirm that we're on the right path.
Yeah.
And I guess for you, was there an event? Was there something that occurred that you're like, okay, like I get it. I'm kind of going through the fire a little bit right now. I'm doing something. But I'm going in the right direction. Yeah. Was there something like that for you?
Yeah. So I've always been very, very good at closing and making sales. I did it in the mortgage business for 22 years. I was doing it in the coaching business for realtors. And then I got this idea to launch the interview method, which was a sales trading business. So inside of a week and a half, I made $300,000.
Wow.
After that week and a half, God told me to shut that business down too. He said,
oh my gosh,
you're not going to do this one. I'm like, all right, God, I'm like used to this. Fine. I'll shut it down. And I've never made a startup business that much success in that amount of time. It was because God was leading me. God wanted me to do that just to show me that it's not about making money. I can make money doing anything that I want to do. But it was about actually connecting with him and following him and having the courage to do exactly what he's telling me to do.
So in terms of that, like how did your daily activities change, right? Because that is one of the big things we're talking about here is, you mentioned you're in this situation and, you talked to God when something happened, but then you went back to what you were doing. A situation came up again, you start having a conversation with God. How does that change in your daily activity as not just becoming, reaching out when I need help, but kind of more of building a relationship?
Yeah. So it was a consistent morning ritual is what just was created. And it wasn't, no one like told me this is what you're supposed to do and this is how you're supposed to do it. I just started doing it. Like I was actually waking up in the morning, like craving direction. I was like craving certainty. I was like walking up, like literally getting up before the sun was up and walking at a park back in Vegas where I used to live. And I would literally like walk in this park, no shirt on. I mean, it's hot in Vegas. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. No shirt on, just walking and just talking with God and having a conversation back and forth. And I actually started recording myself as like I would ask a question. The revelation, like God would like start coaching me and speaking into me. Like he would like speak into my mind. And then all of a sudden I would like speak out loud what he was telling me in my mind. And so I started recording it. So then I would actually have something to review after I was done with my walk that morning. And that's how this Godwalk app like came to fruition, was that like it just was created through me.
And in terms of, I guess, gaining acceptance in the market and getting other people into this big idea, like what was that like too? Because I think sometimes, like a lot of us, I'm speaking from my own experience here, right? Like you get this big idea, you're excited about it. Maybe initially there's resistance, or maybe initially it doesn't take, and you have to kind of, continue to go through it. What was that reception like for you, when the Godwalk app came out, and, where did you kind of go with that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of men that are weak, and I probably going to upset a lot of people, and I really don't care. But here's the thing, Jeremy, there's so many men that are weak. And when you're weak, it's because you don't have courage. You think you can do things on your own.
Well, we're in a weird point in society right now, man, where we're told the opposite of courage is courage. And I'm like, how is that courage? Right. Like there was, I got myself in a lot of trouble like a year ago when the whole Simone Biles thing happened, where she's like, oh, I can't compete in the Olympics. And they're like, oh, she's so courageous. I'm like, why? Like, that's giving up. Like, I don't understand it. Like, to me, like courage is important.
Yeah, it absolutely is. For someone to actually lead their family with God's direction, it's fucking scary, Jeremy. Like people don't know what they're doing. They're like, wait a minute. God told me to delete my database that I built for 22 years. Wait a minute. I just made 131K in 7 days. Like God told me to stop doing that business. Like you got to have some big balls to make moves like that. So, yes, it's courage. It's absolute courage, but it starts with you having a consistent walk, a consistent daily routine, knowing that as you're asking these questions, they're coming in. Everybody has the ability to talk with God. Everybody. They just need to do it. And there's a lot of men out there that their families are broken. A lot of men out there are like, why won't she follow me? Why won't she let me lead the family? Why won't she listen to me? Why won't she trust me? It's because she has no certainty in the decisions that man's making for the family. Like, think about it for a second. If there's a man that's completely connected to God, that's able to make decisions and lead his family with direct coaching from God, the creator of the universe, or there's a man that like is trying to figure it out on the other side that, is full of self-will and it's like, oh, I think this will work. I think this is, going to work. Like, where's the certainty there? There's no certainty.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of men as this Godwalk app, gets out even further and further and hits the masses. There's going to be women that are going to leave these men. They're going to leave these men for a man that's actually connected to God, that is following God's revelation and God's coaching and leading his family with inspired action, not just self-willed. I'm going to throw, some spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticks.
That's really interesting too, because I think if you look at, any organization, I think that's one of the biggest things that's missing in leadership, right? Like so many things have been flipped on their heads, man. Like, but you look at leadership and like, it doesn't mean cockiness, but it does mean confidence. It does mean exuding to others that like, hey, I know things don't look great right now, but we're going to get through this. Like that confidence is vital, but it's lost in a lot of ways. It is.
And I believe that having the confidence and having ego is a great thing. Like if someone were to look at me and be like, your connection to God's not good, I'm going to punch him in the face if I'm on the street with him, Jeremy. I mean, that's just who I am. Like that's confidence. Like you just poked the wrong bear. I know my connection with God. I know that the voice that I hear in the morning and throughout the day, because my connection is up there, is God's voice. It's not mine. It's not some egotistical, self-willed, businessman that thinks he knows it all. I don't know anything other than my connection with God. When God tells me to do something, I do it. That's the confidence that I have.
But you mentioned, really acting on God's direct coaching. For what happens when people are able to do that? Like what occurs when they're able to do that?
Well, I realized right away that you have to be strategic with what you ask God. God will give you what you ask him. But if you don't ask him the right questions, you're not going to get the right answers. That's like, you've heard this so many times over and over and over again. Like if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. So I started getting very strategic. I broke life into 3 quadrants. The first one's financial purpose. The second's body and health. And the third is relationships. If you lock all 3 of those down, and then naturally your connection with God. But if you knock these first 3 down, your life will be full of abundance in all areas. There's no other measurement that you need to worry about. So like I started being strategic, Jeremy. I started going, okay, Father, what am I supposed to do? And where's my focus and direction for my financial purpose today? And then I pause and I'm walking. I'm in a flow state. I'm walking with my phone ready to record what he's going to tell me. And he starts telling me and I start speaking his words. and I get exactly the steps that I need to be able to build this tool that people can now connect with God. And then the same thing with my body and health. Like I have a certain regimen. There's so many diets out there. There's so many ways to get it right, you know?
Dude, I've been a power lifter since I was 17. I'll be 36 in May, so I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to do static contraction. You're going to do CrossFit. We could talk for 40 hours about that, you know?
Linear progression, man.
Yeah.
5 pounds a week for 15 years. That's how you get strong.
But there's so many ways. And the thing is, that might be your way. And I believe it, you know? There was a certain way that God wanted me to lift. There's a certain way that God wants me to eat, you know? And then when I got into the relationship piece, that was incredible because my relationship now is better than it's ever been. I have more sex than I could possibly handle on a daily basis. I have intimacy that is on such a level that is just, I can't even tell you. Like I make love with my partner, with my love, with my life, you know, with my wife, the love of my life. And then we hold each other all night. Like that shit doesn't happen in normal society. It's like, okay, I'm done. Get away from me. I know I'm talking a little different here for most people, but let's be real here. Like there's things that happen when you're coached directly by the creator of life that will change your life forever. So that's literally like the consistency with being strategic, with asking, you know, those 3 quadrants, like what the direction is in each one of those.
So for people listening then, you know, how can they walk with God? How can they do that?
Yeah. They have to download the Godwalk app. It's all there for them. They literally can go on their Google Play or their iOS store on their phone and they just type in the Godwalk app. When they type in the Godwalk app, they're literally going to have an opportunity to get the training. When they go into the very first screen, there's going to be 3 boxes, and the first box is going to be the learning box. That learning box is all the training that they need on how to distinguish God's voice versus their own. The second box is going to be the Godwalk app. They're literally going to click on that box and they're going to read a question. That question is going to be very specific and they're going to answer that question and they're going to connect with God. They're going to get every single thing that they need and their life will change exponentially. I know this for a fact because every single person that is connected, not just half the people, every single person that is connected to God at this level, their life has changed exponentially because we're not making a left when you need to make a right. You're not going straight when you're supposed to turn right. Like you don't make there's no miss. There's always the right direction when you get it directly from God.
So let me ask you this then, because we've had a very spiritual conversation today, but for people listening, do you have to be a religious person to want to walk with God in this way?
No, I say fucking God in the same sentence. Try that in the Bible, Jeremy.
Yeah, exactly. It's not there.
No, it's not there. And again, if you read the Bible, it's cool. Bible's awesome. Church is awesome. But this is not about that. This is about you having a direct conversation that's live with God. Like it happens right now. So it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you think God looks like. God's a man. Let me get this straight because there's a lot of fucking confusion out there. God is a man. Okay. That's first thing. But as you walk with God, you're going to be able to have your own distinction, your own revelation from God that is going to be customized for you. You're going to get your workout plan. You're going to get your plan for your relationships. You're going to get your plan for your financial business and purpose. Like it's going to be your plan. It's going to be customized.
Well, Daniel, I've really enjoyed this conversation today, man. So for people listening, if they want to connect with you or if they're interested in, really getting this app and walking with God, what does that look like?
Yeah. They're just going to go right on their phone to the Google Play or the iOS store, and they're going to type in the Godwalk app, and they're going to download the Godwalk app. And when they download that Godwalk app, they're going to get all the training. They're going to get the Godwalks. They're going to get Godwalk logs to where everything's going to be recorded. So every single time you get a piece of coaching or revelation from God directly, it's going to be on your smart device. It's going to be there forever for you to be able to implement and change your life forever.
Very cool. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, man.
Thank you.